Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us today for Coffee Break with a Board Member. As those watching likely know, this is our segment where we get to know the First Story Board. Last month, we met Scott Knox, and today we're welcoming Stephanie Alvstad. Stephanie is the Executive Director of J5 Youth Services and First Story Board Treasurer. Stephanie, how did you come to join the First Story Board and take on the role of Treasurer?
I was lucky enough to be invited by Dennis Murphy, and I've known Dennis for years. He was Big Brother in our program and also on our Big Brother board. And so, and then he had got Scott Knox to be on our board, and so the Big Brother Big Sister board. And so I knew a handful of people already on the First Story board. And when he invited me, I thought, well, that's just an incredible opportunity. I really appreciate what First Story does, working with kids and families. I really see the need, and it's so exciting to have First Story be working on their 100th home to help break the multi-generational cycle of poverty and get people into home ownership.
Wow, thank you. Well, you're someone who's devoted your career to supporting at-risk youth and families. What really set you down that path?
I love working with kids, and I got into social services in college and have been in there ever since. I think the research that I started reading about was that every youth needs a caring adult in their life. And so I love working with kids. I love letting them have that caring adult in their life, either through a big brother, big sister, through some of the staff that work at the homeless shelter or our boys ranch or the girls program, and working with numerous volunteers that also provide that. So I just like working with kids.
Well, that's great. Over the course of your career, how have you seen the need and response to affordable housing change?
It is getting so much tougher for so many kids and families, and especially any single parents. And we really recognize that single parents have a tough time in Bend. Bend housing prices are they just keep going up and up and up. Rentals keep going up and up and up. And with inflation, I don't think wages are matching that. And so it's really tough, and I've seen even people that work for us that need a First Story home, which just breaks my heart, but it's just Bend. I think we could go to other places in the country and it wouldn't be so bad. So it makes me even love First Story more.
Oh, wow. What would you say to someone who sees this need, wants to help and get involved in their community? What would you say to someone who's looking to get started in more community involvement?
Well, donate to First Story. Donate to J5. And just get involved in different levels. I mean, there's different levels of being a volunteer, of helping kids in numerous different ways. When I was younger, it was either doing something for the environment or working with kids and families, and I ended up working with kids and families. But I think there's numerous ways to get involved in your community. Being a mentor, being a role model. We do things like Women of Inspiration, and we have women come speak to our girls. We do Men of Inspiration and have men come speak to the boys about different career opportunities. There's a billion ways to get involved. Yeah.
Well, on a more personal note, since most of our homeowners are first-time homeowners, why don't you tell us about your first home?
So I grew up in a family of 6 kids, and I was the youngest. And so there was a lot of activity in our first home. And I'm old, so, and I grew up in a really small town. So it was back in the day when you played with the neighborhood kids, and all the parents in the neighborhood parented everybody. But it was, a lot of hand-me-downs. We didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up. Just my dad worked. As I got older, my mom went back into the workforce, but when we were all little, that was a handful. So it was a nice house, and it was the house I grew up in and stayed there for 18 years until I went to college. So yeah, I was lucky. I was really lucky.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time when you're not working?
Oh, well, I have 2 crazy dogs that need a walk every day. And I love horses, horseback riding, hiking, skiing, in the summer, any water activities, kayak, canoe, swimming. Yeah, I like all sorts of things. You name it. If it's outside, I like it mostly.
Well, you're in the right place for that then. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us. I do have one last question before I let you go. If you had to pick 3 words to describe First Story, what would they be?
Heart, compassion, and wonderful.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.